Let the record show that the regular Riverview City Council meeting was called to order at 7 o'clock on April 15th, 2024. Will the clerk please take roll?
Councilmember Ganaga.
Here.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Here.
Councilmember Prey.
Here.
Councilmember Robbins.
Here.
Mayor Swift.
Here.
Councilmember Webb.
Here.
Councilmember Workman.
Here.
Tonight we had the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Workman and invocation by Councilman Webb. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we begin our work this evening, let us all remember that despite our personal differences, we, in the end, work for the good of all citizens of Riverview, and that we, as their representatives, must complete the difficult task before us, for them all as well as for ourselves. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, gentlemen. Jeff, any announcements to get us started?
Yes, Your Honor. I will be making an announcement for Zita, the library director. The library will be closing early Thursday, April 18th at 3 p.m. This is their putt-putt golf for all families. They've expanded it this year it was such a success last year, they expanded it this year to encompass the whole library. So,
Cool.
Bring out friends and family, enjoy Zita at 3 p.m. on April 18th for putt-putt golf in the library.
That it?
That's it, Your Honor.
And I do have one. Ask that you keep in your prayers the family of Mr. Bill Newbecker, a longtime Kiwanian and Rotarian, passed away this past week. His funeral visitation will take place Friday, April 19th, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Trenton Chapel Martinson Funeral Home, with the funeral being on Saturday at 10 o'clock at St. Joseph Catholic Church in Trenton. So I ask that you keep his family in your prayers. Up first tonight, we have recognition of probationary firefighter Alan Cast and his accomplishment in completion of all departmental training requirements and successful fulfillment of the probationary period. Chief, you want to come up and make your presentation?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Mayor and Council, thank you. We are pleased this evening to announce one of our latest firefighters that has made his probationary period, Alan Cast. He's a firefighter paramedic with 18 years in the EMS service as well as, 17 years, right? 17 years in EMS and 18 years in the fire service. We want to congratulate him this evening and recognize his accomplishments in our department, and we're proud to have him with us. Alan, on behalf of the City of Riverview and the Riverview Fire Department, in recognition for successful completion of training requirements, congratulations.
I'd just like to say a few words. Alan's been a great addition to our membership with Riverview Fire Department. We're glad to have him on board. We kind of occupy some of his time from Springfield Township, which is a captain next to me from Springfield. So, Alan, thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd just like to thank both chiefs for their guidance. The gentleman past DC is Captain Strickland from Springfield. He's been my mentor since I started the fire service, one of my best friends, and proud to be receiving my badge from him and from him taking his time to come down there. And then my shift lead, Sergeant Brian Davenport, he's been there helping me through it and making sure that I got through the probation. So I'd like to thank everybody. And then I have my parents, Michael and Audrey Cast, in the audience, and my son, Nicholas, and I'd like to thank them for being here tonight as well.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Nice to have you. Thank you. That it? Congratulations. Thank you very much. With that, we have approval of the minutes of the 4/1/24 regular Riverview City Council meeting and the condensed version for publication. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman O'Neill, supported by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Ganaga, or I'm sorry, O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Prey?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
We have no public hearings. Now's the time for public comment, but before we get started, we do have a special guest. Eric Dunlap, our assessor, wants to make a 5-minute presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome, Eric.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Eric Dunlap. I'm the City Assessor. I was asked to come and just briefly talk about assessing and some topics related to assessing and the Headley Amendment and Proposal A. I'll start with every year in late February, you receive your assessment change notice. And this notice details the changes from last year to the current year. Today, we put a sample on the assessor's page on the city website. If you go to, on the left side of the assessor's page, it says Proposal A, that's one of the selections. Select that, scroll down to the bottom of that page, and there's a PDF that you can click on with an example of an assessment change notice with some notes on there to help guide you to what that information means, how to calculate your property taxes, at least an estimate, and some other information. But in the middle of that notice, there's two numbers. There's the assessed value and the taxable value. The assessed value is set annually at 50% of a parcel's true cash value, and true cash value is the value that the property would usually sell for on an open market without any duress, or in other words, assessed value is 50% of market value. And then taxable value was created with Proposal A in 1994, and this is the number that your tax bill is based on, one of the numbers in that calculation. If you wanted to estimate your taxes, you would multiply the millage rate by your taxable value. And then getting into Headley and Proposal A, they essentially do the same thing. They limit property tax increases from year to year to the rate of inflation. The difference is that Headley limits taxes on a citywide basis, and Proposal A limits them on an individual property basis. And they worked together without any issue until the real estate market crashed in 07 and 08. And that was when there started to be a problem with Headley and Proposal A. The first issue is that Proposal A says that your taxable value can never exceed your assessed value. And then, like we just said, assessed value can never exceed or shouldn't exceed 50% of true cash value. So as market values decreased after that real estate market crash, assessed values had to come down by law, and because taxable value cannot exceed assessed value, taxable values came down also. So once, actually in Riverview alone, taxable values decreased from 07 to 2013 nearly 25%. And then the second problem with that is they decreased 20 to 25%. And then also Proposal A says that the taxable values are capped the year following a transfer in ownership. And they can only increase at the rate of inflation, or 5%, whichever is less, until the property transfers again. So once the taxable values decreased 20 to 25% from 07 to 13, taxable values were capped and only increased 1 to 3% for the next 10 years. And so it's a very, very slow recovery. In fact, in Riverview, the total taxable value in 2023 was still below the total taxable value from 2007. So 16 years later, the taxable value in Riverview was still less than it was back in 07. And the third issue is when properties sell, the uncapped taxable values count against property tax increases with the Headley rollback calculation. Every year we have to calculate a millage reduction fraction, also known as the Headley rollback. And Headley says if taxable value increases, that the millage rate generally must decrease. In each local taxing jurisdiction, schools, cities, townships, they have to calculate their own millage reduction fraction every year. However, and here's the last issue, that if taxable value goes down, as it did in 2008 to 13, following that market crash, Headley does not allow an increase to millage rates to make up for those decreases. Headley only allows a decrease. So if it did allow, actually, if you looked at the calculation, the millage reduction fraction calculation from 2009 to 2018, the calculation showed that there should have been an increase to millage rates, but Headley caps it, and it cannot increase unless voters vote to override the Headley rollback. And that's why Riverview, just like pretty much every city and township in the state of Michigan, had large decreases in tax revenues over the last decade or so. I was also asked to talk about property tax calculation. Like I said, the assessment notice that we put on the website, it has a calculation on there, but basically you multiply your taxable value by the millage rate. You have to convert the millage rate into thousands. So you would take the millage rate, divide by 1,000, multiply that by your taxable value. If your taxable value was $100,000, your taxes will be roughly $5,000 per year. And lastly, there is an appeal process for the special assessment. The taxpayer or the representative, they can protest they have to at least show up in person to one of the hearings, or they can protest by letter to the city clerk. If the special assessment passes, they have 30 days to appeal to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. And I believe in general, the recourse that they have is to prove that they were treated unfairly in the process. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you, Eric. Now's the time for guest and visitor comments. Anyone wishing to address the mayor and council, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. Try to keep your comments to 5 minutes. There is no sharing of time and no rebuttals, and please be respectful. Yes, sir.
Ken Kyleman, 20243 Coachwood. I have one minor but I think important matter. I'd like to once again thank the city for posting more information on the city calendar related to meetings available to the public than we have in the past. The upcoming hearing relating to the special assessment for public safety next Monday has been posted for a while. However, the public hearing related to the land preserve leachate treatment plant scheduled for next Thursday was not included on the calendar as of 6 o'clock today. Additionally, there's been some discussion around the scheduling of the budget study session, possibly for next Wednesday and Thursday, which I think is very important. I'd appreciate it if as soon as the dates and times are finalized, that the study sessions and the required public hearing for the budget be posted on the calendar. It's a convenient one-stop shop for residents to see what's taking place in the city and allows us to make time for things that we're interested in if it's kept accurate and up to date. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move on. I'm assuming 8.1 is going to be removed from the agenda? Correct. Okay. Is there any items council wants removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none. 9.1, approve special events application from Grace Church to hold a National Day of Prayer event in Young Patriots Park on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. 9.2, approve special events application from Boy Scouts of America, Michigan Crossroads Council to hold a 9/11 Community Day of Remembrance and Scout Salute in Young Patriots Park on Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. 9.3, approve Metro Act right-of-way permit extension with AT&T Corporation subject to departmental reviews. 9.4, authorize execution of addendum extending agreement for Atmos Technologies for order control, supplies, and equipment. 9.5, authorize execution of addendum extending agreement for KSM Solutions LLC for odor control, supplies, and equipment. 9.6, authorize solicitation of bids for HVAC services, DPW. 9.7, authorize execution of addendum extending agreement for janitorial services with Downriver Cleaning for a 3-year period. 9.8, adopt affiliation agreement, fire department. And that's it. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Ganaga, supported by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
We have no resolutions tonight. 11.1, authorize the emergency purchase of one bulldozer from Best Equipment in the amount of $325,000. What's council's pleasure?
So move, Your Honor.
Support. Discussion.
Motion by Councilman Workman, supported by Councilman Robbins. Discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if I can now because of the motion, but I'd like to make a motion to set this aside for a study session so we can discuss this.
We have a motion on the floor now.
Copy that.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey.
No.
11.2, award bid number 2545, 2024 GCS, make these easy, GCCS Construction to Great Lakes Fusion, the amount of $222,374 plus contingency of $11,118.70. What's council's pleasure?
Discussion.
Well, let's have a motion first, and then we can do discussion.
Motion to move this to the study session.
Is there support? Is there support? Motion fails for lack of support. Roll call.
I'm sorry, Mayor, can you repeat who made the motion in support so I
Councilman Prey made the motion to move it to a study session, supported by Councilman Webb.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, I'm going to call for discussion on that motion first. Any discussion? I have some. Can I ask why?
Mr. Mayor, on this agenda, I frankly am not comfortable spending almost $630,000 prior to asking the residents for 700 or 2 mills next week. I learned of these movements on Thursday. I haven't had a chance to speak with anybody about this. We have $325,000 for a bulldozer, then we have $233,492 for this more money we're pouring into the landfill. I'd like to discuss it. I'm not comfortable spending this kind of money and then next week asking for 2 more mills.
Jeff, what's the ramifications if we don't do this gas project?
Your Honor, this is our annual GCC gas drilling project. We are required by the state and county to drill these wells. These wells act as, well, they accomplish 2 major things. One, they mitigate any odors. As you know, we had a class action suit in the past because of odors, gas odors. And second, most importantly, this GCCS will increase the volume of our gas, which will then turn around and pay us more in royalties from DTE, RES. So it's a double positive to do this project, which this project is budgeted for each year. So this is nothing out of the ordinary. Matter of fact, when I started at the landfill, we were doing 2 of these so that we could get ahead of the odor problem and get our gas in line. This year, we're only budgeted for 1.
Okay, I'll ask for a roll call on the motion to move to a study session.
Mayor, may I ask
Go
a
ahead.
question to City Manager Dobek? Are we required by state law to do this?
We have to, and I can't answer that because my landfill engineer is not here, but when I started, it was told to me that we were required by the county and state to do this project.
So the city manager,
Councilman Prey.
So here's where my issues lie. We're looking at spending $233,000 to do this. As of right now, our royalties that we're looking to collect every year is $440,000, hopefully more. My worry is that we're continually pouring money into the landfill, and we're talking about, we're going to get all these royalties. Well, if we put in $300,000, $400,000 into the landfill, and we're getting $440,000 back, These are all questions I wanted to discuss in the study session. I understand there's reasons on why we want to do this, but I want to talk about the pros and cons before we just decide to pass it.
Mayor, to Councilman Perret, you do realize that we have to operate the landfill?
Absolutely.
It's going to be open for 8 to 10 years, so we have to do these. These are necessary projects. We're not bringing any kind of project that's not a requirement to operate the landfill in accordance with our license and our permit.
Any further discussion? Roll
Yes,
call.
Mayor, one last question. Just to understand then, is I'll retract the question.
Roll call, please.
Can you make sure we have the motion correct, so everyone
Yes,
knows what we're
thank
voting?
you. Good idea.
I have that we are moving to study session, the authorized award of bid 2545, the 2024 GCCS construction to Great Lakes Fusion in the amount of $222,374 plus contingency of $11,1118.
Thank you.
Roll call,
Last
please.
question. To City Manager Jeff Dilbeck, what is the urgency where we can't put this off to a study session? Is there any urgency?
Yes, there is. We like to get this done before the summertime, because what happens is there's going to be some real loud noises, and there's going to be some odors
wells.
that we have to control, and we want to get this done before the summer, when everyone's enjoying their backyards, swimming pools, and barbecues. So historically, we always do this in early spring, so that we're done before Mother's Day / Memorial Day weekend.
So could this have been brought up, I don't know, say in February or March?
So I guess, Mayor, to Councilman Perret, this is your first year in council, but this has always happened in the spring. This has been a spring. And as I mentioned earlier, it used to be a spring and a fall to catch up. So now it's just the spring. And that gives us the ability to have it all buttoned up before everyone opens their pools and enjoys their barbecues in the backyard.
Basically, it's part of the whole standard operating procedures of the
It is.
landfill, but since the dollar amount, it always comes before. This has already been approved unanimously, I believe, by the landfill committee, probably earlier this month or last month. So this is just, because of the amount of money, it's got to come before council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Swift,
No.
Councilmember Webb,
Remind me, is the motion to put it to study session or to vote in favor of
to
it?
put it to the study session.
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
No.
Councilmember Ganaga,
No.
Councilmember O'Neill,
No.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins.
No.
Motion fails. 11-2, authorize award bid of 2545 2024 GCCS construction to Great Lakes Fusion, the amount of $222,374 plus contingency of $11,118.70. What's council's pleasure?
So move, Your Honor.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Workman, supported by Councilwoman Gunaga. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins,
Yes.
Mayor Swift.
Yes. 11-3, award bid 2540 and authorize execution of agreement with Hoekstra Transportation for wheelchair accessible minivan in an amount of $69,750. What's council's pleasure?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Councilman Ganaka, supported by Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Workman,
Yes.
Councilmember Ganaga,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilmember Prey,
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins.
Yes.
Mayor Swift.
Yes.
Councilmember Webb.
Yes.
Tonight, we have no ordinances. Is there any other business council wants to bring up at this time?
Your Honor,
Councilwoman O'Neill.
can you just have City Manager Doback explain the bulldozer and why it's so important? I discussed it with him earlier today, but just so everyone else has a little background.
Sure. Jeff.
Your Honor, to Councilmember O'Neill, yes, we had a bulldozer catch fire, and it was a catastrophic loss. It's no longer able to be used in the trash. We are currently renting one, I believe, don't hold me to the total, but I believe around $12,000 a month. That rental dozer cannot keep up because it's not big enough, nor does it have a trash package on it. A trash package means it has a pushing bar, it has the blade, it has special tracks to handle all the trash, the mattresses, and all of that. We were able to locate this completely rebuilt one with 40-some hundred hours on it. And so this was we're out to bid for a new one anyhow, but this was a good fail-safe, plug a hole and be able to continue to do operations. The second thing, and I think this is where Councilmember O'Neill wants me to make sure everyone knows, that when we recover any monies on that insurance, those funds will be to reduce the cost of the new used bulldozer. So they just don't go into general fund and spent on operations. They have to be attributable to that piece of equipment that we are purchasing.
And this is a used bulldozer that we purchased?
It is a used bulldozer with warranty, new motor, new transmission, new tracks with the trash package.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Robbins.
just real quick, the van that we are purchasing, we discussed it in the study session the other day. I don't know if everyone tunes in to that. So these are funds that we already have a grant, I believe, from SMART, is that correct?
Your Honor, to Councilman Robbins, yeah, there's two funds, but it is grant money that has been put into our account as the City of Riverview. We have some $250,000 of funds, and we have asked for approval to use those funds for the purchase of the van, as well as run the SMART van out of City Hall, which they will help pay for administration, bus drivers' wages, repairs, maintenance, oil, and gas on that van. So this is something that we're going to offer transportation to the city for things like to and from the doctor's appointment, to and from shopping, Walmart, Meijer, and Mr. Dickman, our Recreation Department, will be heading this up. And the boundaries, because we wanted to include a number of hospitals, a number of shopping, it will be Jefferson to Telegraph, from Vreeland to Eureka. That's the square that we'll be serving with that van. And it'll be 2 to 3 days a week, some 6 hours a day, and we'll monitor how it goes, and if we need more, and I think our annual contribution on top of the $250,000 is like $33,000 or $36,000 a year, and that will offset those costs to operate. So if it grows and it becomes a big program, I know Todd would be excited about this, but maybe we could get into, from a 4-passenger van or a wheelchair and 2 other riders, maybe we can get into one of the SMART buses themselves. We can be put on the list, and we can get a 10-passenger with directly from SMART, where we wouldn't use the monies to buy it, but yet they would, assign it to Riverview.
Your Honor.
Councilman Workman.
Could you please have the city manager explain how this money can be spent?
That's a great idea, and I will make a point too, I thought you were going to do this, is this doesn't require any match from us, correct?
Your Honor, it does not require a
So
match.
define what we can use this money for and only for this.
This is restrictive to senior transportation, and Todd, correct me if I'm wrong, there's other parts of transportation it may be able to be covered? I'm not sure.
Yes, it's restricted to transportation needs within the city. So basically, it would be being able to purchase a vehicle like we have, or contract with a company to get people from here to there. We have used the money about 5 years back to put some of the bus stops up for the SMART, but SMART did not okay us to put any more bus stops up. So it's things that pertain to regional transportation is what we can use the money for.
Question, Mayor? Do we know how many?
Councilman Webb.
Do we know how many years the grant will cover the costs of the operations and maintenance?
Jeff.
Yeah, Mayor to Councilmember Webb, we looked at what we have in total, what we're expecting, because we're asking for a de minimis travel fee as well, $5 a trip. And we had that stretched out well over 10 years, like 12 years. And that's at the current rate of $15 for the bus driver an hour.
Thank you. And one more question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Can someone give us the current millage to help the residents calculate their tax?
Ann, I'm not sure, Your Honor, if Ann has that, but we'll put it, Your Honor, we are updating. I didn't want to put that flyer that we created last year about our budgets and our taxes until the budget's approved, but we will be putting that on. But maybe Ann could put a projected rate based on the current budget on the website, so they could do that.
Would that be in the area where the assessor mentioned that the?
Yeah, we'll make sure.
Give me a second, I have it here if I can look. Yeah, so does Rita. I don't have my glasses, do you see better?
Yeah, 27.17.
That can't be the current. Yeah, that would be the total, so that'd be the whole column added.
And just so everybody knows, I did give council that breakdown of our millage proposed in all the cities. So it would be at the end of that Excel sheet that I prepared and Ann reviewed to make sure it was correct. So if you have that, but Ann will put that on tomorrow.
Am I correct, a little over 54? Okay. Okay.
Any other business council wants to bring up?
Your Honor, before I go on, I just want to thank council for some of these questions and bringing more information to the people at home, because I think they were good questions, and I have no issue answering good questions that, you know, if you feel that the people watching need to know more, I'm happy to share that with you, and I do appreciate that.
All right, we don't have a closed session tonight. At this time, I would look for...
Mr. Mayor, real quick, I wanted to let the residents know.
Councilman Prey, go ahead.
I've had conversations with Scott Ireland today from the EPA. Cal Kirchen from Debbie Dingell's office has been instrumental in helping get a lot of questions answered for the Arkema project. We had about a 30 to 40-minute conversation today. As soon as I get the rest of my notes put together from that conversation, we'll be updating. But I can tell the residents that we are still continuing with this. Some of the concerns I had about the residents who surround the Arkema property have been alleviated due to draining east to west and some other issues that we're actually taking care of. A few other ones that Scott is working hard to get me the answers still, but I'm hoping by the next time we have a council meeting, we should have answers to those as well. So I just want to keep everybody updated.
Then I'll look for a motion from Councilman Workman to adjourn.
So move, Your Honor.
Is there support?
Support.
By Councilman Robbins. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Ganaga?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill?
Yes.
Councilmember Prey?
Yes.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor Swift?
Yes.
Councilmember Webb?
Yes.
Councilmember Workman?
Yes.
Let the record show we adjourned at 7:34. Thank you.